Hey guys, welcome to the Wealth Twins podcast. This is episode number 3. Today we're talking about what can you do now that can change the next 10 years. We're going to give you 5 things and probably give you a bonus to let you know what you can do now and what actions you can take in order to influence and make the next 10 years your best 10 years. Let's jump into it. Now, one way you can start is by practicing being the person that you actually want to be. Would you agree with that, Nicole?
I totally agree with that.
Now, I'm like the way I'm thinking about it for myself, if I want to change the next 10 years, the way I would start doing is I want to practice the person I want to be. I want to practice being the person I see myself 10 years from now. Now, I have this tool that I got from when I was working before I retired that I actually kept. It's one of the few things I actually kept from when I was working. And it helps remind me of what my goals are and how I can stay on track for those goals. And this is the little tool. Now, I know this is probably trademark or whatever, but this was given to me at my last job. And what that does is, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, there's certain words on here like actions and beliefs. You have promises, intentions, and beliefs and values, actions and behaviors, beliefs and values. Now, what this does is when you have all of those in alignment, everything stacked up, you are moving towards your goal. Now, if one of these pieces are out of alignment, then you know what you have to put back in place in order to stay on track. Now, I may not use this every day, but I keep it on my desk as a reminder. If I feel like, maybe I'm not hitting my goals or going at the speed that I think I should be, I look at this and I say, which one of these elements are out of line for me? And it helps me get back on track, understand what I need to correct to make sure I'm staying on course and keep moving forward.
Now, Nadia, how would you relate that to? We're the Wealth Twins, right? Now, what you're saying with this 4-stack thing with helping you with being in alignment, how would you relate that to how it can help you with your money?
Okay, well, let's say you want to retire and you want to be retiring comfortably, right? But maybe you're more than 10 years out from retiring. Maybe you want to retire early. What can you do now in order to hit that goal? Maybe you're in alignment with your actions and behaviors. Are you not investing enough in order to retire comfortably? Are you spending too much money and you're focusing on spending money now rather than prioritizing your future? So, if you're thinking about in terms of where you want to be 10 years from now, especially in regards to money, you can look at, hey, what actions I am taking right now that would actually influence the next 10 years from now? If you're not investing at all, how are you going to think you're going to retire in 10 years? So the actions that you're taking right now will definitely influence the next 10 years. So if you're looking at this, like where you're in alignment, if I was a person who wanted to retire and retire comfortably, you kind of know what you have to do. And if you don't know, you find ways to figure out what you need to do in order to fill that gap. Like watch YouTube videos, take courses, and just in general, those are the things that you should do.
In general, not everyone has that tool set that you have, but a way that people can use what you're doing to help make those decisions and make sure that you're in alignment with your life is actually to use like post-it notes, right? Or create like 4 categories and actually write down what they believe in, which actually leads me to the next point I want to make, which actually a lot of people, I believe, including myself, I did not know what my beliefs were. I did not know what my values were and what triggered some of the behaviors that I did. And the way I actually figured that out is, which is the second thing I think someone can fix now or do now that will change the next 10 years, is come up with your own point of view. So this POV. Now, the way I did that and the way I started doing it was I met so many people in my life that had such strong opinions about things. And politics would try to get you to gravitate to one side or the other. Influencers would get you to gravitate to one side or the other, and it's a lot of extremes out there. And I sat down one day and I said, how do I feel about certain things? And I realized I never gave myself, or I actually had a chance to actually sit down and think about how I felt about certain things. Now, when you do this, what is great about it, it allows you to get clarity. It allows you to understand where you should spend your time and your focus, and also where you should spend your money. Now, the way I like to do this is by using notebooks. I have a ton of notebooks in the house, And I use it because I read a lot of books, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I speak to a lot of people. So what I do, I try to get as many different sources as I can, and then I think about what I've learned from them, and then I put in my own thoughts and think about which way, what is my point of view on what this person said or what I learned. That allows me, like I said, to give me some clarity of what I think my point of view is, and that also helps me dictate my actions, right? So once you develop, this will also help you develop your beliefs and your behaviors and your values. Because once you're able to do that, you're going to see your actions change. And it will allow you to start filtering out different things that are not going to be part of your value system or your behaviors or your beliefs. And it allows you to actually start focusing more effort and more attention to the things that you really want and things that you really do believe in.
Nicole, let's relate that to investing or to money, right? How would you relate that? So you have a point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think when it comes to investing, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm just going to invest in things that someone told me I should be investing in and not doing research on their own." Now, when I think of having your own point of view and looking at different sources, when it comes to investing, instead of just buying the first thing that you hear is hot, maybe you learn how to research companies. Maybe you learn how to take a point of view. Do you want to start investing in just any company, or do you have certain values that will prevent you from investing in any companies?
Well,
What do you
I
think?
think when it comes to using these notebooks to come up with a point of view, the first thing you have to do with any of this is gather as many sources as you can and as many different viewpoints as you can. And then you decide what you want to do with it. So when it comes to investing, there's so many different ways to invest. You got options trading, you got long-term investing, which we do. You have swing trading, you have FX, you got a whole bunch of things, right? Now, when you sit down and you listen to these people and you say, okay, which way is it that I want to invest my money? Which way do I believe this is going to be the best for me? If you don't think about it, you could be very easily tricked. You can actually fall for get rich quick schemes. And it's all because you didn't take the time to think about how does this point of view when it comes to investing actually align with my values, aligns with my behavior, and align with my belief. Because everything sounds good until you sit down and really think about it. So this is a way by writing down those notebooks and you can actually use it to clarify your thoughts and clarify what you think about what people are saying, and then it allows you to make the decision which is best for you, maybe at that time, or which is best for you all throughout your life.
Now, I would take it a step further. I would actually use that notebook to realize what kind of risk I would like to take, especially if we're looking at things that would change our lives down the next 10 years, make the next 10 years different. A lot of people will invest based on their own risk tolerance, based on their own responsibilities. So if you're looking at investing, one of the key things will help you stay in the market longer is understanding what type of risk you want to take with your money, and that will influence the type of securities that you would actually buy. So if you want to practice this on your own, think about, okay, Bitcoin is hot right now. But am I the kind of person who wants to really invest in Bitcoin? Can I deal with the volatility of Bitcoin? Can I deal with the uncertainty? Like, it's still a new type of currency. We don't really know what's going on. So am I the person who will like to start investing in that? Or maybe I'm a person who likes to take a little less risk with my money, and maybe ETFs or index funds might be more my speed.
You might be a maverick and say, I want to get in early, but the only way you get to really decide that and actually have less regret is actually sit down and create your own point of view. Okay. And the earlier you start creating your own point of view, the better it will be the next 10 years. I've been doing this for over 10 years and has made decisions easier for me, has made me filter out a lot of things that I don't agree with, but I do listen to a lot of different points of view, but then I make my own point of view when it comes to where I spend my time and where I spend my money.
All right. So let's jump on to the next point. Point number
Okay.
3, in order to change the next 10 years, what you could do today is start prioritizing the future over your day to day. Now, I know a lot of us, maybe we have small kids, maybe they have a ton of activities and we're always running around. We say, you know what? I have the money I have now has to be dedicated to funding the life I have now, plus funding all these activities that I want to do with my family that I want my kids to have as extracurricular activities. It's very easy to get caught in the day to day and spending your money, and you could be budgeting it wisely, you could be spending it wisely based on your present day circumstances, but that's at the risk of making the next 10 years suffer. So if you want to change the next 10 years, you have to start prioritizing what the future will be too. Now, I know it's very hard to say, okay, I don't have enough money. I just have enough money right now to live comfortably and do what I want to do. It's hard to take a bit of that money out and put it towards the future because it's still an unknown. But I'm telling you now, no one falls into having what they want in the future if they don't start making the plans now and start executing on it. If you're a person who makes good money and you've been investing just a little bit, but you know you probably don't know how much you need in order to have a comfortable retirement, it's time now to figure out what those numbers are to understand if you have to up the amount of money that you're actually investing. But if you just sit there and say, well, I'm investing now, I'm probably investing enough. There's no certainty in that, right? It's probably not even a certainty if you do have the number that you want, but I guarantee you, you'll be a lot closer to where you want to be if you actually sit down and stop hoping that things will work out right if you're going through now and just going through the motions rather than taking a focused, concentrated effort and actually putting the money you want towards your future. So, my thing is, it's okay to think about the present now, but start putting some money away or put extra money away because it's a lot easier to do it now and get into the habit of doing it than waiting until later on and you're figuring out it was too late. You should have started 10 years before.
Now, the next thing I would say when it comes to what you can do right now that would help change the next 10 years, and it was funny because it brought me back to, I'll explain a little bit, but here it is. Find your twin, okay? Now, I believe Nadia and I had an unfair advantage. We are twins, we were born together, and we actually have similar vision. Now, the reason why I say find your twin is because it's been cold recently, and in my family we started doing these big puzzles, and these puzzles are quite difficult, right? So I picked this one puzzle. I think I spent like an hour on it trying to start it, and it was really hard for me to actually get some type of momentum. So I just said, that's it, I'm done with it, right? I gave up on it. Then my husband decided he was going to try the puzzle, and he started making some real headway with it, right? But it was still very difficult. He would spend like an hour or so there, and you could see that it was moving, but it wasn't moving as quickly. So last night I decided to come downstairs and actually start working with him on a puzzle. And by working together on the same puzzle, we made so much headway on this puzzle. It was unbelievable in half the amount of time. Now, I usually tell people the best thing you can do as a cheat code to building wealth is to marry someone who has the same values and the same vision as you. But then when I started thinking about it, I was doing this before I got married, before I found my husband. I did this with Nadia. And everyone needs, you hear it, teamwork makes the dream work, right? But you only actually need just one person. Because even if you have the vision and you know what you want to do and you want to build wealth and you want to invest, it is not that simple on your own because you're going to run into some obstacles. But you can actually speed up the time if you have someone in your corner who's willing to do the same thing as you because you can share information, you can share results, and you can speed up the process. And that really is the cheat code. And I know from a fact, from when we were much younger, I would share information with Nadia about building wealth. She would share information about building wealth with me. And that helped us basically, I would say, shorten the process of getting real estate, investing, and saving money because we found a twin. So even if you don't have a twin like I do or like we do, and if you don't have a partner that's on the same page as you, find that person who is your twin. There was a podcast that we used to listen to called Friends on Fire. They were friends and they were both on a mission to do FIRE, which is financially independent, retire early. And they would share information and learn how to quicken the process. And I suggest for everyone, if you want to start building wealth and you want to do it quickly, especially within the next 10 years, find your twin.
All right. So I would say the last tip, and at least for me, well, many people would think, oh, it has nothing to do with money or whatever like that. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to throw it out there. I say if you want to change the next 10 years, start doing more exercise and start eating better for yourself. When you start eating better, and when I mean eating better, don't eat out as much. Start cooking at home, making sure that you prepare your own meals and making sure that you get in exercise on a consistent basis. Now, the reason why I said this is because two things. One, when you exercise more, you're going to keep it up for a longer time. And I'm not saying go all out, just make it consistent. Make sure that you get in 3 or 4 days of working out, because that is a practice you can keep for the long term. Don't beat yourself up. Just go in the gym, make movement, make exercise a part of your habit, right? Then, if you're making food for yourself, you're also controlling what you're eating, and that is also going to help you health wise. It's also going to help you in terms of saving money. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't save that much money in, and don't give me the latte factor or whatever. It's not that. What I'm saying is this: one of the biggest costs when it comes to Americans, I will say, is healthcare costs, right? A way you can
Mhm.
control your healthcare costs, especially as you're getting older, is by focusing on your health now. Even if it's small steps, if you put those small steps into practice and you do it on a consistent basis, I guarantee you the next 10 years will be better than the 10 years that you did not focus on your health and focus on really making sure that you are a priority in your life. Okay. So, not only that, it will save you on insurance, it will make you live longer and live better, and you will also be saving money because you know exactly what you're putting in your body, and you won't have to spend money going out, and you can regulate how your body is reacting to the foods that you're feeding.
I would like to go any further in saying that America is probably the only country, or one of the only few, I want to say the only country, where you could be bankrupt by healthcare.
Mhm.
Okay. We don't have a universal healthcare system in this country, as you know. And because of that, people have become bankrupt just because of health bills. So, what Nadia is saying is taking care of that now. So, in the next 10 years, it will help you. It definitely will. On top of that, we speak to a lot of people, and a lot of them that come to us say, I want to save money and invest so that I can cover healthcare costs. So that's one way, establishing the money you have to help for healthcare, because you know that could be an issue in the future. But also taking preventative measures now will lower those costs in the future. Second point being, everyone likes to focus on life insurance, but most of us will need disability insurance before we need life insurance, right? That's just a fact. You might most likely become disabled before you pass away. But a way to lower that probability of something like that happening is to use your money now to do preventative measures, taking time out, because health is wealth. And if you can spend some of your money in those areas to help prevent you going down the line 10 years from now to experience, disability or health crisis, it will help you. So I agree with what Nadia said.
Now,
Okay.
I'll give you guys a story. Like, I was in France for 3 weeks. I spent 3 weeks in France over the summer, last summer. And what struck me as amazing was that how many older adults were so active in France. And just by comparison, I live in America, so I'm going to compare it to Americans. One point, I was going to a flea market, and there was so many people at this flea market that when I looked at my GPS, it said I was about a mile and a half away. But I saw people parking and walking towards the area where the GPS said where the flea market was. And they had no problem. It was like 90 degrees outside, and all the people walking were primarily older than me. And I thought to myself, how many Americans would do the same thing? I'm going to tell you now, I live in New York City, so maybe this is just my point of view, but New Yorkers don't believe in walking a mile and a half to go somewhere. We don't believe
No,
in
we
waiting
don't
on lines or
walk.
anything like that.
We don't walk.
So we don't walk like that. So to see all these older adults walking and just making it like it was just normal, it was shocking to me, because I think in America, as we get older, we say to ourselves, we deserve to not have to walk. We want to park closer to whatever place we're going to. We want to get the spot that's closest to it. So I find that the different mindset, and they live a lot happier lives and a lot healthier lives because they just take exercise as part of their daily maintenance. And I think as Americans, if we shift that, we'll see a bigger change in the next 10 years. That's just my point of view. Now, since I've been back, I make sure I park far as I can from where I need to go so I can get some walks and get my steps in. But I also know I can always find a parking spot over there because Americans are not going to want to park that far. That's just my point of view. That's something that I observed when I was overseas.
Okay, well, because we said there would be 5 things we think you should do now to help you in the next 10 years. And everything that we're saying, guys, is something that we're doing that we did before and that we continue to do. So I'm going to give a bonus one. I want to say start doing the hard things now,
Mhm.
okay? Because when you start doing hard things now, like learning how to invest, which is not that hard if you have the right teachers, and Nadia and I would love to show you how to do that, or save money, or just building wealth. It's not that hard if you know what to do, right? But if you start the things that so many people tell us, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, right? You have to say, I don't know what to do is your signal of this is where I need to focus on and actually start learning how to do it. So you have to start doing the hard things now because 10 years from now, it will make your life better. One story that I would say that Nadia and I use this in our life. I do little 30-day experiments, right? And right now, Nadia and I are doing an experiment where we're taking cold showers. And I can
It's
tell you,
horrible.
it's horrible. But we're not doing it because we like cold showers, because we obviously don't. But it's forcing us to do a hard thing. And it's just giving us that we're committed to doing the hard things now. And it's just a way for us to show that little daily commitment of doing the hard things now because we know it will get easier over time. Okay. So if you want to join us and take cold showers for the next 30 days so that you can start the process of learning how to do hard things now because you know it will get you to do bigger and better things, especially things that you know are good for you. You have to start doing the hard things now. This is learning the skills that are going to make you more money. This is showing up and being more valuable so you can make more money where you are. This is learning how to budget even if you don't want to because you know it's good for you. And it will be something that will be something you can look back on in 10 years and say, that wasn't really that difficult. But a lot of people try to take the easy way out, thinking that that's going to be what helps them in the future. And I'm telling you now, based on experience, nothing that comes too easy is going to last. So if you learn how to do the hard things now and be accountable to yourself and say, I'm committed to doing the hard things now, things will become easier in terms of finances, in terms of time, in terms of relationships. Just do the hard things now. And if you start doing that now, I guarantee you it will change the next 10 years. All right, guys. So we summarize what we think you can do now that will change the next 10 years. Here they will go. Practice who you want to be, right, Nadia? That's number one. Two, get yourself a point of view so you can clarify where you're going to spend your time, your money, and your focus. Number three, we want you to prioritize the future over the day to day.
Yep.
Number four, find your twin so you can make building wealth in half the time. Number five, focus on your health and your wellness because it will decrease those health costs later on and also help build up a better quality of life. And bonus one, number six, is start doing the hard things now because if it's too easy for you, it will not give you much benefit. So if you can do all those things, we believe that if you do all those things, if you start them now, the next 10 years are going to be much better than the previous 10 years. Right, Nadia?
Yep. And if you guys can help us get the word out about this podcast, make sure you share this and subscribe to the channel.